Hello and welcome back to Create with Chidex. I'm Chidima, and today's video is based on the cake trend that I've been seeing all over the internet. Beautiful island cakes that look like acrylic artwork instead of cake. Just take a look at some of them here. I really love the way you could see the decorations inside the cake. They make the cakes look very beautiful. However, I heard a lot of disaster stories about making these cakes, so it almost put me off making one. But being someone that loves a good challenge, I decided to go ahead and attempt to make one. For this cake, I am mixing two teams, the island cake team and an Angry Birds fishing game team. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Come with me and let's find out if my attempt was a fail or a success. I started by making the Jello water. So I've listed the ingredients needed for this. And now I'm mixing the sugar and the water. I mixed it until it dissolved. Then I added the gelatin. These are the brands of gelatin I used. For the leaf gelatin, I soaked it in cold water for 5 minutes, squeezed out the excess water before putting it into my mixture. After putting in the leaf gelatin, I am putting in the powdered one. The gelatin would need to absorb the water properly, so I'm just stirring it in to help it do this. When I can no longer see the dry powder, I'm going to put in my color. So I'm starting with the blue color, stirring it. I'm adding a bit more blue and then the green. I'm stirring the colors in and then I'll heat the entire mixture on medium to high heat. While heating the mixture up, I'll keep stirring it constantly. As soon as I start seeing a slight wisp of steam, I'll turn off my cooker. Now I'm putting in the 4 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I chose to use vanilla extract, but you can use any other flavor you want. Then I'm squeezing in the juice of 1 lemon. I'm going to now stir everything to combine it. And then after that, I'm going to leave the mixture to stand for about 2 hours until I'm ready to use it. Moving on to the cake, I'm going to cut out a sheet of cake of about 1 inch high and attach it to my board using buttercream. Next, I'll cut out a small part of the cake. Then using some buttercream, I'll attach it to the board to form a rectangle. I also had the leftover cake which was about 2 inches high, so I split this cake into 2 parts, and now I'm going to stack the 2 parts on top of the sheet cake using buttercream as well. Now that I've stacked the cakes, I'm going to start carving them. So I'm carving this particular one to look like a mountain. I'm not going to throw away the scraps of cake that I'm carving out because I'll still be needing it for the cake. After carving out the mountain shape, I'll apply some buttercream around my board and then I'll start attaching the cake scraps randomly around the board. When all the cake scraps have been attached, using an offset spatula, I'll cover the entire cake with buttercream. Then I'll mix some Rice Krispies with buttercream and also apply this on the flatter part of the cake. Here I'm just using my offset spatula to spread out the Rice Krispies on the cake. To make the acetate cake collar, I taped together 6 A4 acetate sheets and then I folded in about 3 inches at the edge. Then I'll hold the sheet up against the board, pinch it at the corner to mark where the next fold will be, then fold it at that point, using my ruler to further flatten it. I'll do this for all 4 sides to make the rectangular cake collar for the board.
If I could go back and make things right, I would have it undone. No, I hurt you. Yeah, I was blind. The blame is mine. Yeah, I feel the weight on my shoulders.
After folding all 4 corners, I taped the collar to my board using a heavy duty duct tape. To make it easier to attach, I put some tape vertically at the center of each of the sides to hold the cake collar up before taping it horizontally all around to make it more secure. Previously, I taped the acetate sheet and the board horizontally using short strips of tape, and now to further secure it, I'm taping it all around in one long horizontal tape strip. Next, I placed a rectangular spring foam around the cake. Then I secured it further with more of the duct tape. I used the fish mold to mold my fishes and seaweed. This was the fastest way to do it instead of molding each one by hand. So basically, you just press the modeling chocolate into the mold, and when you're done, you just pop them into the fridge, and within 10 minutes they are hard enough for you to pop them out of the mold easily. To give the fish some added dimension and color, I dusted them with edible silver, gold and green dust. I hand molded my Stingray using blue modeling chocolate. To mold it, I looked up the photo of a Stingray online, and then while molding it, I kept on referring to the photo to help me get the right shape. Here I'm using a knife to mark out and mold the spine area. To complete the Stingray, I rolled 2 small balls of black modeling chocolate for the eyes and then attached them. Then using some white edible powdered color and some vodka, I painted the white dots on its body. For the boat, I rolled out some brown modeling chocolate. Then using a template which I hand drew and cut from paper, I cut out the shape of the bottom of the boat. Then I cut out 2 strips for the sides of the boat, and these strips had a height of about 3 cm. After cutting out all the parts of the boat, I attached them together using some vegetable fat. Next, using my fondant tool, I marked out the lines on the body of the boat. I colored some white modeling chocolate using some grey gel food color. I marbled the color such that it didn't mix in completely, and then I spread out the modeling chocolate with my hands. Using a piece of foil paper that I crumpled up, I left some texture on the surface of the modeling chocolate. When I was done, I used the modeling chocolate to cover the mountain part of the cake. In the next step, I scooped out the foam from the top of the Jello water. Then I attached my fishes and seaweed to the surface of the cake with buttercream.
Kind of ignorant. You don't care what people say, people say, people say. I'm going crazy.
After attaching the fishes and the seaweed, I poured in the Jello water. I first poured in a little to make sure it wasn't going to leak out before I started pouring in the rest of the Jello water. After pouring the Jello water, the entire cake will go into the fridge for at least 4 hours, or better still overnight, to allow the Jello to set properly. When I was done pouring the Jello water, I dusted the body of the boat with some edible powdered brown color, and then placed it on top of the Jello water. To make the Piggy's floater, I rolled a ball of white modeling chocolate, flattened it with my palm, then using a small circular cutter, I cut out a circle in the middle. Finally, I painted the red lines using edible red gel color and some vodka. Moving on to the Angry Birds, I made chalk using some yellow modeling chocolate. So first I rolled the modeling chocolate into a ball, then I formed it into a triangular shape. After that, I used my fondant tool to create the eye sockets. Then I rolled 2 small balls of white modeling chocolate and then inserted them into the sockets. Next, I rolled out a small piece of white fondant, very thin. Then I cut out a triangular piece from it, and then using some vegetable fat, I attached the triangular piece to the bottom like so. For the eyebrows, I rolled out a very thin piece of brownish orange modeling chocolate. Then I cut out 2 very tiny strips, which I then attached to Chalk's eyebrow area using some vegetable fat. To make Chalk's beak, I molded a triangular shape using slightly dark yellow modeling chocolate. Then using my X-Acto blade, I cut it slightly like so to open up the beak. Then I further arranged and smoothened it while it was on the face. Next, I made Chalk's crown by molding a small triangular piece of black fondant, and then using a scissors I cut the top part of the triangular shape into 4 parts before attaching it to the top of Chalk's head using some vegetable fat. Using edible black gel color, I also painted 2 black dots on the white parts of Chalk's eyes. To make red, I rolled a ball of red modeling chocolate, so I created the eye socket with my fondant tool and then inserted 2 white modeling chocolate balls in the sockets. For Red's crown, I followed almost the same process as Chalk's, but instead of using black fondant, I used the same red modeling chocolate I used for his body and cut the top part into 2. I also covered the bottom part of its body with a thinly rolled small circular sheet of white fondant. Then I made the beaks following the same process as Chalk's, only this time the beak was a bit shorter. After that, I painted 2 black dots in the white parts of the eyes. Next, I made the tail feathers for Chalk and Red using black fondant rolled into short cylindrical shapes with the top area cut into 3 parts. Then I attached the tail feathers to each of their back sides.
Together we were shine, but we know we're running out of time, 'cause we made like strange.
I also added eyebrows for Red using thinly rolled black fondant strips. Next, using brown modeling chocolate, I cut out rectangular slabs for the boat seats. Place them inside the boat. Then I attached Chalk and Red to them using 2 cocktail sticks each. I made the Piggy by rolling a ball of light green modeling chocolate and flattening it slightly. Then I added a little yellow color into a small piece of the green and then used it to make the snout. Using my fondant tool, I will create the 2 holes in the snout like so. Next, I created the mouth like so. Inserted a strip of black fondant inside it. Then I made the eyes similar to how I made that of the birds, but one of the eyes was a black eye, so I used purple modeling chocolate instead of white. I also made the ears using 2 tiny balls of the same green modeling chocolate used for the body. Then I painted a white line on the purple eye using white powdered food color and vodka before painting on the 2 black dots on both of the eyes. I used floral wires of different thickness to make the fishing lines. So I split the thicker one into 2 equal parts and then curved them like this. Then I twisted the thin floral ones around the thick ones like so. Before inserting both of them into the cake, one for chalk and the other for red. I also attached a small ball of red modeling chocolate to a tinier one to make the weight. Then I placed one each of the weights at the end of the fishing lines. Finally, I took off the acetate color from around the cake. And there you have it. Our ocean-themed Angry Birds Island cake is done. Doesn't it just look beautiful? Almost too beautiful to cut. This used to be your favorite games, David, when you were much smaller.
Oh yeah, I know. There's red and shark going fishing, and a pig with a black eye. To me, it looks like one of these birds just attacked the pig, and now it's got a black eye.
The pig is mysterious, isn't it?
Yeah, they always try and steal the eggs.
As usual, I'm gonna have to cut the cake. I've now come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.